All right. So we made it. Week 5 is mostly over. If you're tuning in right now, there is a bit of an interesting development going on in the Bama Georgia game. Georgia's coming back. Um, Score is currently 33-28 Bama. About just over 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Bama's kind of been a little lethargic on offense. Maybe Kalen DeBoer taking it easy. Maybe he turns it back up. I don't know. Maybe UGA has actually adjusted. We'll see. Oh, man. What a week. What a week. I am going to start by talking about a game that was played on Thursday that maybe hardly anybody paid attention to. We'll see. But is anybody aware of the fact that Army might actually be good? uh I'm gonna switch over to the content setup here. Army 42, Temple 14. I watched part of this game. Okay. I ended up going out with some friends both Thursday and Friday night. We'll get to Friday in a second, but Army's offense is absurd. Like, they're actually throwing the ball downfield. I don't know who the first service academy coach was that implemented the triple option, but he's turning over in his grave right now, guaranteed. Um, yeah, I got nothing else really to say here other than I was just thoroughly impressed watching Army move the ball. I mean, Temple's not a great team. I don't want to sugarcoat that by any stretch of the imagination, but this offense looks like, and the thing is, Navy's doing the same thing too. So the Army Navy game could be a playoff eliminator game for the AAC championship, and nobody's gonna expect that because the group of 5 gets a representative. Both Army and Navy are now in a conference together, and their offenses are actually really good. So that's neat. You want to know what's really not neat? Both of the Friday games being fraudulent as fuck. Okay. Now, I will say this. If you are a Virginia Tech fan, I have watched that replay a solid, I don't know, 20 times. It is questionable. Okay. The ball is moving almost as his ass hits the ground. The thing is if the rule states that there has to be definitive video evidence to overturn a call made on the field, I don't think that footage is enough. It's so close. And Miami stays undefeated, and you guys get to lick your wounds all the way back to Blacksburg. I don't like it. I hate it for you. I hate it for Vautech. I hate it for anybody that is a fan of the sport and the purity of it and trying to make sure when are we going to get standardized officiating? Okay, how the fuck is this still a problem in 2024 where we don't have a unionized national officiating group, right? It makes no sense to me. The fact that you have individual conferences with their own officiating leagues, and next thing you know, hey, non-conference games exist. The fucking playoff bowls exist, and you're going to have crossover, and you're going to have teams from one conference that have been having their games called by a certain group of zebras all year, and then they're playing in a game where it's being reffed by a completely different group of guys from a different fucking conference affiliation, and they don't throw the same flags. I mean, what was the stat line from last week? It was Michigan ran 47 run plays, and there wasn't a single holding call on them the entire game. I don't know if every group of zebras calls that the same way. That said, Oh, Bama just punted it. UGA's got the ball in a one-score game with under 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Spilled a little bit on myself there. Trying to be performative. All right, well, hey, if I just took that L, let's talk about another L. Why don't we? Okay. No, the New Mexico flag isn't trying to cover up as much UW gear as I possibly can. Let's talk about what happened in Piscataway last night. If I told you going into this game that Washington was going to outgain Rutgers by almost 300 yards, you'd probably say they won in convincing fashion, right? Well, you would be wrong. Oh my God, UGA just scored. Oh no, they didn't. Oh yes, they did. There's no way. Bama fans can't believe it. Carson Beck is going fucking nuts right now. Holy shit. That Bama fan's crying. We love to see it. Hang on, I gotta check. I gotta check the boys. They can't be okay right now. I got two very, very good friends that are UGA fans. Wow. Wow. That, and they're going for two to make it a field goal game. Like a field goal to tie it, basically. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. Kirby might challenge this. He's on the defender's body. They might want to take a second look at this because he's on the defender's body. I don't think any part of his body touched the ground before the ball crosses the plane. I could be tripping, but oh man, that's so sick. This is a game. This is a fucking game. We love it. We fucking love it, dude. So anyway, let's talk about my dogs. So yeah, Washington and Rutgers. All right. Let's just take a peek at the stats real quick while we have some time here. So 521 to 299 yards. So not quite oh sorry. I would be remiss if I didn't let you guys see that. There you go. Yeah, so 521 to 299. So not quite 300, sorry. 222 yards. So they outgained Rutgers by 222 yards. Ran for 207, threw for 314. Will Rogers played an immaculate game, okay? 26 of 36, 306 yards and 2 touchdowns. Their running back puts up decent numbers. Where, oh, where could the problem be? Let's see. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Ryan Williams. Oh. This is game of the year so far. This is game of the year so far. Is Kalen going for 2? He is. Makes it a 7-point game. Means Georgia has to score. All right. This is going to come down to the wire, like, quite frankly. So we're going to have to continue to interrupt this. I'm going to switch back over to this for a second. He gets it. Jeremy Bernard. Former Husky. Wow, dude. Fucking wow. That move was insane. Dude, how does he stay up for that? There's no way. Watch this. Toe tap. Whoop. And he just does a pirouette right there. Wow, dude. Wow. All right. See if the dogs can answer. Go back over this for a second. So yeah. 6 for 69 on penalties. But I'm going to go and show you a little bit of interesting shit here. So, what is this? Missed field goal and a field goal. Where were they? Let's see. Oh, the 4-yard line. Couldn't get into the end zone. Love that for them. And then this other one where the field goal was missed. This is a 42-yarder. Was this the one that I was thinking of? Washington 28? No. Turnover on downs. Yeah. The fucking 2-yard line. And they couldn't get in the end zone. 20-yard line. You're in the red zone. Can't get 7. This is a 38, so, you know. But 3 missed field goals from our place kicker who didn't miss a single field goal all last season. 3 trips into Rutgers territory. 3 trips into the red zone, 2 of which within the 10-yard line. No touchdowns. 2 of those were actually no points at all, by the way, because there was a missed field goal and a turnover on downs. And the play calling was some of the most asinine shit I've ever seen in my life. Okay, you have a verifiable Mack truck in Jonah Coleman in the backfield. It's 5'9", 230 pounds. He was averaging 6.7 yards per carry going into this game. And he doesn't get the ball once in some of those drives. Or at least in those red zone scoring attempts. What the fuck are you doing? I don't want to spend too much time on this game. Washington has a penalties and a coaching issue right now, and the penalties and discipline ties directly back to the coaching staff and how they mitigate that and how they manage their players. So recruiting has seen an uptick. The numbers are there, but the in-game decision making is it's just fraudulent at this point, and I'm tired of it. I'm seeing a team that should be 5-0 right now, losing close games against not terrible teams. Okay, Rutgers is a good team. Washington State is a good team. They're not great teams. They're not playoff contenders. Neither are we. We wouldn't be even if we weren't making these mistakes. Okay, there's teams on our schedule moving forward that are way better than us that should win. But here's the thing. The way that you turn those should win games for those better teams against team or into games that you could potentially win is by not doing this shit. By eliminating the on-field mistakes, by eliminating the procedural errors, by eliminating terrible play calling, and then You have an opportunity in those moments to punch above your weight class. But here's the thing. When this is the result that you're getting against teams like Wazoo and Rutgers, you're not capable of doing that. Or because, poetic irony, watch them beat Oregon, watch them beat Michigan next week. What does it fucking matter at this point? Okay. This is a team that played for the national championship last year, and the whole offseason narrative was that you might not make a bowl game this year, and that's fine because of the roster turnover. The team I'm seeing on the field on the weekends, the talent is there to do better than this. And they're not. Like, I'm seeing flashes of a team with the capability to punch above expectations, and instead they're choosing to have substitution errors that do away with a fourth down stop that would have given you the ball back and had a chance to go take the lead. All right, I'm seeing a team with a play caller. We went from an offensive-minded head coach that has a massive resume of play calling under his belt, and now we have a head coach who is the play caller, who gets into a scoring down and distance and then forgets who his fucking weapons are. Like, I can't be kind about this. I'm so fucking over it at this point. But let's go back and look at the rest of the country, because there are teams out there that deserve to have some recognition given to them. Mine ain't one of them. Texas against Mississippi State was close at first. Arch Manning just kind of popped off a little late. I mean, look, guys, like, Steve Sarkisian might have the best quarterback room in the country right now. And I know Texas fans are probably like, yo, keep Arch in. We love it. Like, he's great. Quinn Ewers, still a great quarterback. Wishing a speedy recovery for him. Texas is a good football team. That won by their name looks very well deserved. Although I'll say this, whoever wins this game probably takes it from them. Georgia getting towards midfield, 151 on the clock right now. Caribou. Ohio State, Michigan State. I want to say there's a podcast that I listened to where I think this exact score was predicted. 38-7. Kind of a similar thing. Will Howard took a while to get up and running, and when he did, it was game over for Michigan State. Now let's talk about the upset of the day. Number 6 Ole Miss goes down to Kentucky. So I had this game up on the split screen. I didn't hear any of the audio until late. I switched over to watch the end of the fourth quarter to see if Ole Miss was going to be able to stifle the comeback. They weren't. The play where Kentucky's tight end gets the ball that was punched out at the goal line, it's flying in the air and just kind of falls in his hands, and he just like falls into the end zone. It was pretty funny, kind of crazy. Good clock management by Georgia, attacking the perimeter, getting out of bounds. But they need to convert. I mean, it's kind of a moot point. It's always a fourth down. Go for it situation here. Sorry. Just trying to see what they lined up in. I'm just zooming in on Carson Beck's weird looking face. Sorry, Carson. Lucky motioning in. He's rolling out. Incomplete. 4th and 2. Here we go. But yeah, I mean, Ole Miss last season, I think, was pretty fraudulent on defense. Their offense is kind of great. Kentucky is like, I faded the fuck out of them like the first 3 weeks or whatever it was. First couple weeks, like their offense was terrible. I don't know if they were just listening. Oh, here we go. 4th down. This is the game right here. Trying to clap them off. 10 seconds on the play clock. Come on. You have separation there. Got it. Colby Young gets it. All right, cool. But yeah, I don't know if Kentucky just like woke up and was like, "Hey, we're better than this." Like I think a lot of people expected their offense to get better going into the season with Brock Vandegrift being added and some other additions during the transfer portal cycles, but um injury to Bama. Is that Keon Sab? Oh no, Devontae Smith. Not Devontae. um But yeah, no, I mean I'm not gonna sit here and say their offense was like elite, right? Like they only scored 20 points, but at least they showed the effort like necessary to go take down a top 10 team. On the road, by the way, too. The Ole Miss, like, oh my God, the Ole Miss like fan reaction, like stills that I've seen on social media are pretty comical. Also, the like complete and utter lack of like emotion on Lane Kiffin's face watching the game tying field goal go wide left. Um, yeah, no, I mean, crazy ending to a game. Like, hats off to Kentucky and Mark Stoops. I know a lot of people were kind of theorizing that the team might have quit on him because of the whole A&M debacle in the offseason. They literally have him crowd surfing in the fucking the away team locker room. So I don't think that's the case. Yeah, props to the Wildcats. Oh, Illinois, Penn State. I was torn on this one. I've got Tyler Warren on my fantasy team with my buddies in the league that we have. I also drafted him in daily fantasy this weekend. Put up okay numbers for me, but the chaos like gods that infect my mind. I wanted Illinois to win this game, man. Also, a huge fan of Tom Fornelli from the Cover Three podcast on CBS Sports. He's an Illinois alumni. Funny motherfucker. Like love his content. But yeah, no, I was on board with a lot of pundits and the thought that this game was going to be closer. Luke Altmaier, who had avoided the turnover bug for most of for this entire season, actually not most of the season, this entire season, he didn't throw his first interception until tonight. And Penn State's got a great defense, right? So, like, I think if there was a team that was going to do it eventually, this was going to be the team. And I think a lot of people, like, assumed that. But Illinois kind of came out in that first half and was like, oh, no, no, no. Like, we're going to go blow for blow with you. Like, our defense is really good. Your offense is struggling just as much as ours. Who's going to basically succumb to the, bend, don't break, mindset or methodology first? Oh, nope. Third down and 8 coming up. Anyway, but yeah, no, I really love what I saw from Illinois. Like, great fight out of them. Obviously, the turnovers in the second half are what let Penn State come away with this 21-7. Illinois is a good football team. I don't know who needs to hear that, who didn't watch this game, but let's just say for the sake of argument, right, that like Penn State doesn't take care of their business moving forward and doesn't finish the season perfect or something like that. If Illinois makes this their only blemish, like they have the ability to go on and be a factor in the Big Ten title race. My personal opinion, I really like what they have defensively. I know the offense is better than what we saw today. The environment was tough. It's not going to be the last time they find themselves in this situation, but now they've been there and they know, like, hey, we were one or two plays away from actually doing this. And that kind of loss in that manner, coming away with those lessons learned, can do something for a team that is immaculate. Like, trust me, I know. Like, I remember being on a youth league team where we lost our season opener against our biggest intercepted. Bama wins. Damn. Wow. Talk about a tale of two true freshmen, Ryan Williams and oh god, what was his name? Let's watch this. He's thrown to the far side. Wow, dude. Zabian Brown. Ryan Williams, Zabian Brown win Bama this game. Kalen DeBoer takes down Kirby Smart in Georgia in his first season as the Alabama head coach. Wow. Do they rush the field here? That's an interesting thought experiment. They put time back on the clock? I saw 37 seconds. Now it's up to 39. All right. Interesting. Florida State just got absolutely hornswoggled by SMU on the road. I almost made that a best bet, which we are going to talk about here in a little bit. Suffice it to say, my weekly locks did not go well. Oh man. Well, instead of watching Bama kneel this out, let's finish talking about this. Yeah, no, I think just it. Like I said, I've been on a youth league team where we were, defending, Super Bowl champions, and we came in the season opener against our rival, and lost. And I don't believe we let another team score a touchdown on us for 7 weeks after that. It was just a lot of mental errors. We came in very overconfident with ourselves and kind of just like mailed in the game, so to speak. And we paid for it, right? And rightfully so. Like, had every right to lose that game. Yep, there's the final, 41-34 Bama. But no, I see Illinois being a team that can respond like that. They have the tools on offense. Luke Altmaier significantly improved from last season. The defense, I mean, look, Penn State's offense has answered the call this year and shown the improvement that a lot of us were expecting. So the fact that you held them to 21 points, technically 14 of them only being from the offense, right? Not a bad day for you. I have not. Okay, so I saw a still of the kickoff, or the onside kick rather, for Minnesota and Michigan. I know we mentioned earlier the 47 run plays, no holding calls. Did Minnesota get robbed here? Because it was called an offsides for the onside kick, and you look at the moment that the ball leaves the tee, there isn't a player from Minnesota across the line, but the flag gets thrown anyway. So everybody's talking about Virginia Tech, Miami. Not that nobody's talking about this, but maybe they need to be talking about this game a little bit more. I'm not going to labor too much on this game. I didn't have as much attention on it as I should have. I know that it started very slow, and Minnesota clawed their way back in, and I started kind of paying attention there towards the end. It just looked like Michigan's defense was too much for Minnesota to handle at key points of the game. So we'll see how Minnesota, kind of responds moving forward from that. They've already had kind of a tough go, and then Michigan coming to play my dogs in Seattle. next weekend. So I like the chances. I just need the coaching staff to fucking do their job this weekend, is all I'll say. Talk about a game where a team that I normally fade a lot just because of conference affiliation and, them being rivals of ours back in the Pac-12. But a team that I'm loving this year because of the narrative surrounding them and what I'm seeing on the field. USC went from being Mr. Irrelevant of like everybody with these questions hanging in the air about defense and like what could they be if and then we see them beat LSU in Vegas, right, in week 1 on a Sunday night. And then was it Sunday or was it a Monday? Either way. Then they play this close game against Michigan last week that a lot of people are like, dude, they could this close, they could have won it. Like one missed tackle on Kalel Mullings away from beating Michigan in the Big House. Like, I love to see that from this team that has been accused of not being physical, not having what it takes to close in close games. Wisconsin came to play. They were up 21-10 for quite a while on USC, and USC comes back, and Miller Moss, public service announcement, Miller Moss is that fucking dude. If you didn't watch this game, go back and watch this game. Miller Moss was getting beat the fuck up all day. This guy was getting helped off the ground by his O-line so much. It's a shock to me he didn't slap their hands away by the end of it because of the amount of pressure he was under all night. And he still put the team on his back and won this fucking football game for them. The defense played great too in the second half. Like, answered the call. The bell rang. They were like, we're down 21-10. Everybody's been hyping us up for being better than we've been since, pre-Lincoln Riley. We need to honor that. And they kicked Wisconsin's teeth in the second half. And then Miller Moss was just like, it was the scene from Wolf of Wall Street. I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not fucking leaving without a win. That kid's got the moxie, and I love it. Miller Moxie, that's his new name. Fucking Miller Moxie. LSU, South Alabama. I'm going to be honest. I thought South Alabama was going to score more. Like, their offense has been just kind of like a fucking point juggernaut so far this season. So for LSU's defense to hold them to 10 points, I was pretty impressed with that. Some key players from LSU, like, what is going on at running back? Okay, Durham had the breakout game against South Carolina, right? And everybody's like, they found their guy. And then last week it was Jennings, I think was his name, who was their feature back. And then this week it's Durham again with a receiving touchdown, a rushing touchdown, like 100 plus fucking yards. Like, I'm mad because I drafted Durham in daily fantasy last week and he produced a nice steaming fucking fat nothing burger for me to chew on. And then this week, and of course this week, I'm like, okay, well, they don't know what the fuck they're doing at running back, so I'm just going to avoid this altogether. And then he comes back and has another just monster game, and I'm like, I don't like you. I don't like you right now. But I like this LSU team. Garrett Nussmeier, offense, doing a lot of great things. The defense, I think, I don't know if this is like a game. Sorry. Where we finally say, they answered the call, because yes, South Alabama's offense had been good up until this point, but like, who has South Alabama really played from a defensive standpoint that we can say like, oh yeah, Gio Lopez and the boys, like, they could score on anybody. Like, this is a really impressive thing that LSU stopped him. Like, I don't know if this is the game. We're not going to talk about Louisville, Notre Dame. Yet. There's a reason. We will arrive at said reason in due time. Clemson fucking shoved Stanford into a locker. I wish that Burning Stool had been featured a little bit more, but that's mainly just for daily fantasy purposes. Beggars can't be choosers. Iowa State stays perfect. Completely shuts out Houston. Houston's not a good fucking ball team right now. I don't know what else to say. I fucked up because I should have made this a best bet, and I didn't. Because if you go back and watch my Week 5 preview video, I said, and I quote, like, Kansas State is going to boat race Oklahoma State on Saturday. 42-20. One of these days, my inside head thoughts will actually make it on my lock sheet, and I'll do a smart thing. But for now, I'm quite content to live life mentally challenged, I guess. This offense either did one of two things today, because I remember saying earlier in the season, like I say earlier in the season, we're only in fucking week 5. First couple weeks, right? A lot of people were like, Avery Johnson's not using his legs a lot. And that was like the whole thing about this guy, or this kid rather, coming into the season, and why he ran Will Howard out of town, allegedly. But we didn't see it. Then we saw it in week 3. And I was like, okay, cool. We got more design QB runs coming out of, Manhattan. This is what we expected. We like it. Then they get absolutely skull drugged by BYU in week 4 on the road in Provo. And like, okay, what the fuck over? This offense looks completely stagnant. None of the good stuff, the improvements, it's not like week 3, it was like unlocked. It was like, okay, we're starting to see like what this can be. They hit the turnover bug. Avery Johnson was just very ineffective. The whole narrative coming into this week was that he was being hypercritical on himself, very negative. The coaches had to sit him down and just kind of be like, hey, this is your fucking show. Like, you need to start acting like it. Be the starting quarterback. My guy was the starting quarterback today. Alan Bowman obviously threw for more yards because Ollie Gordon has decided to take the season off, I guess. I don't know what's going on there. I talked about this in my week 5 preview when previewing this game. The whole narrative this offseason was you have the most experienced offensive line returning in the country with the Doak Walker Award winning running back in the backfield, and they can't run the ball. I mean, yeah, where is it? DJ Giddens puts up 187 yards on the ground against you. Like, I know that's not a direct comparison because DJ Giddens isn't running against Ollie Gordon, but I'm talking about in terms of stats side by side. Like, he had a promising first couple drives in the first half, and then it just kind of like the weight in curling in the Winter Olympics, it just kind of drifted away, and we never saw it again. Oklahoma Auburn, I had the game on. I'll be honest, I found myself too frequently confusing it for the Texas A&M Arkansas game, which we will be talking about shortly. Just because Oklahoma was obviously in their away unis, and their uniforms away in Arkansas's look very similar, so I had to like look closely and be like, okay, one's maroon and one's blue. All right, sweet. Now I know which game I'm watching. Oklahoma wins this game on a pick 6 that I think if you're an Oklahoma fan, obviously you're probably like happy that you got the win. But if you're like a pragmatic Oklahoma fan, you're like, we still kind of suck because Auburn ain't that great. We haven't been that great. We needed their quarterback being terrible for us to win. Essentially, is what it boils down to. Will they be ranked tomorrow? Yeah, they will. Should they? I don't think they should have been ranked after losing to Tennessee last week, but that's just me. This is why preseason rankings are stupid, quite frankly. The BYU Baylor game, okay, I had this one on too, and I just remember early on in the first half just kind of glancing up and being like, oh, well, this is just a public execution. Like, Baylor or BYU is just, sealing Dave Aranda's fate here. And then Baylor starts coming back, and I'm just like, okay, like I'm on board with this. Dave Aranda's out here wearing his weird all clear glasses. Seemed to be having a good time in some of the few shots I saw of him. Admittedly, wasn't watching the full game, but like, if I take what I did see within the context of the final outcome of the game, it's just kind of like, you're firing me anyway, so I might as well enjoy myself on the way out. I don't legitimately think that is what Dave Aranda was thinking on the sideline today, but it's just given what I assume is going to happen by the end of the season with that program and what I saw today, it was just kind of funny. So yeah, again, not talking about Arkansas, Texas A&M yet. We're going to get there. Maryland, Indiana was everything I wanted it to be for one half. I expected this to be a shootout, which is why I drafted Curtis Rourke in Daily Fantasy. He delivered for me. Thank you, Curtis. And Maryland was going punch for punch for the most part. And then Indiana came out of the half and was like, this has been fun. But we have dinner plans. We got to go. And they fucking buried the Terrapins. Props to Mike Loxley's, unit for fighting the whole game. But it's just Indiana is, dare I say, a pretty darn good football program under Curt Cignetti, coming from James Madison. So, yeah, no, like that was a game that like I had kind of, I don't want to say written off in my head because again, I admittedly had no fucking clue what my own team was going to be like coming into this season. But I'll be honest, like when I saw Indiana on our opening Big Ten schedule for Washington, I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. I mean, like at least it's not Ohio State. And now I'm looking at it like, just don't score 40 on us, please. Like, can we at least do that? Indiana's pretty good. Their offense is firing on however many cylinders it possesses. It's firing on all of them. Nebraska and Purdue. Okay. If you didn't watch this game, you see the score line, all right? And then you look at like the final scores for all of Nebraska's previous games, you'd be like, oh, this looks pretty standard, right? In reality, this game was actually, was it not 0-0 at halftime? Stand by. Because I think I have that right. Oh, sorry, Gamecast. Yeah, it was 0-0 at halftime. You can't see it over here, but you can see, yeah, third quarter was when the first points were scored. And even then, it was 7-3 going into the fourth, and then Nebraska just decides, we would like to play now, and went for it. I mean, look at the win probability chart. It was like, yeah, Nebraska, Purdue's ass. We don't know what the fuck is going on right now. Okay, Nebraska's really good again. Oh, man. So silly. Such a silly game. Especially since I drafted Dylan Raiola and Isaiah Nair in daily fantasy, and that was that was a mistake. Um, let's see here. Hey, props to Boston College for coming back against Western Kentucky. I didn't even know that happened. I just remember seeing that score at one point on the ESPN app and being like, BC, Thomas Castellanos, losing to Western Kentucky right now. We have 2007 all over again happening, right? This is just chaos. Love it. Ended up not happening. Speaking of Navy, like we did earlier when talking about Army, look at that. A fucking 40 burger against UAB. Dude, this Army Navy game this year is going to be so sick, and I'm so excited for it. All right. Oh, man. The under in like service academy games is like it is one of the most successful betting props I think in the last like 50 years. I think I'm betting the over this year. I don't know if FanDuel or anybody has it open right now. I should probably check and see if there's already lines like for that game. Cause if I didn't live in a state where, sportsbook betting was illegal, I would probably be very motivated to place a wager on that. Tulane absolutely steamrolled South Florida, by the way. Like I initially came into this game thinking it was going to be interesting because of how I've made mention multiple times in the last couple of weeks about, Alex Galesh and how highly I think of him and his future as being a Power Four coach sometime in the next couple of years. The problem is that John Summerall to Tulane has a similar prognosis attached to his resume or his coaching career, that is. And Tulane put in work. So props to the Green Wave. Two really talented group of 5 head coaches that I think have bright futures ahead of them. Galesh just, obviously taking a step back today with his Bulls, and yeah, I mean they're gonna be a factor in the AAC, I think, but maybe more just as like a chaos bringer at this point rather than contender. But hey, it's only week 5. We'll see. But props to Tulane. Props to Tulane for sure. Okay, oh, hang on. There is one other game in the middle here before I get to the TCU Kansas game. Texas State against Sam Houston. What? I have seen like legitimate sports writers like who get a paycheck every 2 weeks, maybe. I'm not sure what their pay schedule is, but to receive monetary compensation for their work and reporting on this sport that had Texas State as the group of 5 representative in the playoff. And the first couple weeks I'm like, let them cook. This team's putting up points. Sam Houston was one of the worst offenses in FBS last year. And some of you were like, Sam Houston's not an FBS team. Yeah, they are. Second season as an FBS team, as a matter of fact. And they put up a 40 burger on fucking Texas State, and they lose by 1 point. I wish I had watched this game. For one, Texas State's color combos for their uniforms are sick. It's like black and red and gold. I love it. It's awesome. But you lost 40-39 to Sam Houston. Ouch. That's all I gotta say to that. All I gotta say. TCU Kansas, okay. I thought going into this game that Devin Neal was going to have a greater impact at running back for Kansas because TCU had been porous in their run defense. And then it turns out that Highshaw leads the game in rushing, right? And great for him. They still put together over 100 yards rushing against TCU. I honestly just expected more. I thought that Josh Hoover was going to carve up the secondary. He did. 356 yards passing, couple tutties, more than a couple. So that ended up panning out. I just thought that this was going to be a punch for punch kind of game. And then Jalen Daniels just kind of failed to deliver on that. Like, his method, or not method, but like the kind of player that Jalen Daniels is, I thought was going to be very well suited for this matchup, because I thought it was going to be like a very efficient and tactically sound offense going up against I'm going to score on psychobabble bullshit because I can't read defenses, so they have to scheme it open for me a lot, and your defense isn't that great. So it's a match made in heaven for us. And okay, sure, it's 27 points. Okay, it's not like they were completely inept, but it's just, I expected more. And I've got Devin Neal drafted in my fantasy league with my buddies, so shame on you, Devin. But I also have Miller Moss, who came in clutch for me, so thank you. Can we talk about the story of the week? No, not Bama, Georgia. No way. UNLV coming off losing Sluka, their starting quarterback, to redshirt status after a NIL mishap. They promote, I think it's Ollie Jennings is his last name, or hang on, I don't want to get that wrong. I want to give this young man his roses. It's got to be there. Probably just walked right past it. Oh God, where am I? Yeah, Haj Malik Williams. There we go. Haj Malik Williams takes over at quarterback. Props to Mikey Keene for putting up 300 plus. Good quarterback. Fresno State's still a good team. They're going to do good things, I promise. But UNLV was on a motherfucking mission this weekend. So Sluka says, deuces, I'm out. Y'all didn't pay me the bag. Whatever happened, it's all conjecture at this point, because both sides have a vested interest in saying the other one is in the wrong. But then you have players in the locker room that are like, Haj Malik Williams is going to start now? Bet. Like, they're posting this on Twitter, like getting excited about it. And they drop 59 on Fresno. Oh my God. If I'm Sluka, like, dude, you get negative bitches at the bar this weekend. You are, in the military, we have a term, like, if you're like out of ammo, like you're black on ammo, you are black on bitches right now. You are black on Riz. You are black on clout. Like, you fucked up, dude. You have fucked up. Which is good, because it might be the only thing that you fucked this weekend. Besides your career, potentially. Yikes. There was some theory circling that UNLV was going to come out and like punch Fresno in the teeth. And that's exactly what happened. Let's see, scrolling down. Justice. I talked about this in my week 5 preview. And I said that I wanted Manny Diaz to get his revenge on Mac Brown. And I got it. I got my wish. I didn't think I was going to. North Carolina had the lead for quite a while in this game, and Duke had to come back to win it. Oh man, so happy for him. I didn't watch the game, so I can't speak more intelligently or whatever I'm talking like right now. I don't know if intelligently is the adjective that I would use, but No, super glad that dude. Does I honestly kind of want to go back and take a look at this game and see if there was any like beef or anything like that, because the last time these two played against each other, coached against each other, was when Manny was at Miami, and there was no pre or post game like handshake or like formalities. So we'll see. For context, if you didn't watch the preview episode, Manny Diaz was the defensive coordinator at Texas when Mac Brown was the head coach there, and he got fired like on the field after a pretty horrific loss there. Yeah, Manny took it personal. So there's that. Colorado UCF. This is the third and final game that I will be saying this about, but we are going to be talking about this shortly. Not quite yet. Let's go down. We already kind of talked about SMU body bagging Florida State. Don't need to labor too much on that. Texas Tech Cincinnati was a barn burner. I got to go back and check that one out. 44-41. Cincinnati might actually be a good team. And then Liberty App State got canceled because, Mother Nature hates college football, apparently. Was really looking forward to seeing App State just have like fucking 60 points dropped on them because their defense is non-existent. Boise State's defense playing good coming out of the half. I need to stand by. You know what? I'll address this in short order, but we have arrived at the part of the night that I've been dreading the most, and this is the locks recap. So, observe. Are we noticing a trend here? So, I'll be perfectly honest. I had initially planned to make week 5 my revenge tour for locks. I was going to take Louisville over Notre Dame, UCF over Colorado, right? And then I was going to take Washington over Rutgers to undo the trifecta of misery that I created for myself in week 3. We started great. We're going the opposite direction right now. We are currently 6-9. Nice. On the year. But Arkansas, Texas A&M, like that one, I'd probably bet it again because I legitimately think Arkansas is better than people are giving them credit for. I think that offense under Bobby Petrino is no longer fraudulent. I faded Texas A&M's defense. I gave them way more credit. I didn't give them enough credit. I looked at a lot of what I perceived to be overreactions to essentially playing inferior competition and thought, yeah, I get that they have the talent, the recruiting, the stars, but I haven't seen it against anybody with a pulse. I thought Arkansas had the pulse, and Texas A&M proved me wrong. We already talked about Washington Rutgers. I mean, there's nothing more I can say about that that's not going to further the amount of upset that I feel about the way that game played out. But let's talk about the surprise of the week. I'm not mad that I was wrong about this because RJ Harvey still had a good game, which is a primary reason why I took this game. This was basically, we have a good running back and you have terrible run defense. And that's UCF speaking. And then Colorado walks up to the mic and is like, good points. We have a really good quarterback and good wide receivers, and you have a terrible pass defense. Would you like to shake and agree that we're just going to figure out who sucks less on Saturday at their respective, weak points? And I was like, oh, dude, bet the over. I'm taking UCF at home. I think RJ Harvey is going to have a day against this freaking Colorado defense. I thought that Colorado was going to score for sure and make it interesting. But interesting? Let's go back and look at this real quick. Why don't we? 48-21. Oh, that's fucking interesting. Colorado is undefeated in Big 12 play. That's interesting. Like, Colorado is a Big 12 title contender. Very interesting. And I'm sure the revisionists out there are going to be like, I'm not surprised, motherfucker. But like, okay, fine. You go ahead and say that, but I'm not buying it. Well, this concludes the instant reaction part of the show. I am going to try and get some other games up right now. Oh, look, all three of you. You know what? I want to watch the game that is closest right now. So let's get all three up. We'll figure out which one. Hang on. Let's go to scores. Okay, Oregon's just doing terrible things. Okay, this is how we're going to do this. Oregon just scored again, like as I said that. We're going to change multi-view. We're going to go to... What? You're telling me I can't do that. Okay. So we're going to open up... we'll go back to the other one. That's fine. I'll watch all three up here. And get to playing some games here in a second. I'm going to keep the stream up, obviously, because I'm live streaming this. But for YouTube purposes, I am going to do a little bit of an outro here. Thank you so much for anybody that watches this. Again, I'm really enjoying making this content and just talking ball, having a good time. Obviously, I'm a little toasty on this one, or these episodes, because it's been a whole day. I'm having a few brews, or in this case, a little bourbon. And I've been watching football. Blood pressure is elevated. Still some more games to watch, and we'll maybe talk about those on Monday when I do the AP poll reaction, which I intend to do this time, and then do like a full week 5 recap. Or really just kind of add to anything that maybe I didn't, see or speak of before. But again, thank you so much for being here. I will catch you guys in the next one. I'm going to switch to this so it's a little bit more personal. Bye.